Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Cloudcast. This is episode 3. We're going to be talking about the Haven update today. I am joined, as always, by my lovely companion, Mr. Jaden, aka Pillow Fort Games. How are you today, good sir?
Oh, I am doing fantastic and hyped for this new update. Crazy excited to go into it.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of things that I think are fantastic with this update, and maybe sets the groundwork for the future. Honestly, this is a good one. I've been looking forward to some of these things.
100%.
Right. Well, we're gonna be going over some of the patch notes today, and we're gonna take a look at some of these things in game as well. Let's just dive right in, shall we? First and foremost, I think the decoration items placing increased amount. This honestly being able to see what we're placing down now is kind of
A
huge.
game changer.
Kind of huge. Not gonna lie. There were times where I was putting stuff
Phenomenally.
down and I was like, this box isn't quite showing it well.
It's funny because like one of the first updates they did to build mode was they gave us a snap to grid, which I understand for like some people was like, kind of important. But I feel like being able to see what you're actually building, uh, crazy changes, like how tight you can put things next to each other and stuff like that.
That too. It allows for a little more creativity. IMO. Like you can really see, hey, I want to put this next to that, or etc.
It really did feel like when I was going through it and messing with it, I took like before and after photos of what I could decorate for, because I have my shop setting up like I kind of want it to be like a multi-store market.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I took my pictures before where I was like, yeah, this was my grocery aisle before, and now here's my grocery aisle, and the amount of like vegetable stands and things like that we had. Like it really felt like I was doing like a mini HGTV episode of like redecorating.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited with some of these changes. I think being able to see the placing is really really nice, and being able to uh, put more of those items down also fantastic. That was one thing that I felt really limited on, was the ability to put down more of my favorite shelves.
I went through and reworked my blend field so that it is now entirely wrapped in stone as it should be.
Oh yeah, because we got more
We got more
things.
walls. Yep.
More walls. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go around and fix some of that myself. There's some couple places where I put some fences up, and I've had to like use multiple fence types just to get it all lined up right. And I'm like, oh man, I can go back
Yeah,
and
there were definitely some parts that felt like early on Minecraft or early on Stardew where you're like, I don't have enough resources to do this. So it's like stone fence, stone fence, stone fence, wood fence, stone fence.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. Yeah, for sure. I love that, man. Another thing was the new main menu UI. I love it. I think it's
Yep, yep.
phenomenal. I like the blocking of it. I like I mean, honestly, I just love the way it looks. I think it sets the groundwork for UI in general being sort of retooled and rebalanced in that way, where it looks really really clean.
Yeah, and I know they did one pass on it before, and I was like, I don't like this because the new game was more center focused than the continue game. And I
Mm-hmm.
like it now because I feel like the continue game, even though it's like not directly in the center of the screen, it is what is it? It's to the left, but it's like bigger and it's like the more obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate that little bit of design too. I also like that you can just go and play in the tutorial, like just for funsies. I like that they made that replayable.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
tutorial got a huge rework that I've I presume is just as good. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't actually like gone and looked at it myself, but I presume it you know looks really good, plays really good, and does what it needs to do in terms of telling the player what they need to do, where they need to go, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good indeed. There was also the what else was it? The Arcadia changes. Everything across
Yeah.
Arcadia. There was a lot of new changes over there that I think are going to be good for the new players.
Also, have you had a chance to visit it?
No, I really haven't, simply because I'm not the demographic for that.
Out of curiosity, the other day, I had some downtime while I was waiting for my like 11K resources to be farming. I took a little vacation trip down to Arcadia because I was curious about a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they added some like ambient background visuals. So like when you drop in on Arcadia, instead of it just being this one island in the middle of an ocean, they added like a couple of like one-off islands off in the background.
Oh,
As far
okay.
as I can tell, you can't get there. You hit like a magic wall at some point.
Okay.
Um, but it is a nice little like refreshing, just adds just enough for me.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be something that I have to look into when I venture back over there.
Yeah. And I think Dustlanger had some of it too. I haven't had a chance to check out Greenvor and the other islands.
I'm looking forward
But
to
it
the
looks like they're.
overhaul of other islands as well. I'm a Dustlinger fanatic. That's that's my home island, if you will.
I think Dustlanger only needs something on top of the plateau over by Fort Grob. Like I really think that's like all it needs, and it'll be there.
By Fort.
Like
Oh,
it'll
right,
it'll be
right,
a 10
yeah.
out of 10 island. Yeah.
Yeah. We did talk previously about the giant emptiness of that plateau. It definitely needs a little something, It needs a little love. But maybe Dustlinger's next on the to-do list in terms of all the sweeping changes that they're doing and quality of life stuff that they're bringing to these islands.
Hmm.
Um, I you mentioned it in our one of our previous cloudcasts about the islands and their how you view them from the map and the order that
Oh,
they
yeah,
pop
the
up.
map order.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was like you complained about it, and then the next thing you know, boom, here we are.
It was I know that I had put one in like the suggestion where I was like, look, I know that I'm probably the only person bothered by this. And then there was one where they did the question of the week and they were like, "Hey, what do you guys think about UI?" And I was like, "Please reorganize the map."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my main thinking for that was there were times where I was trying to do like dungeon circuits
Mm-hmm.
um where I was doing loops through like each island rather than focus on like one. I was like trying to like do a circuit, and it was like, I'd be on Dustlanger and I'd be like, all right, next up Greenvor. Why am I at Arcadia? All right, well, next up, and then it was like Arcadia, Greenvor, Dustlanger, Frostful Merkstorm, Odin Shell, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
Huh?
it was a little out of whack at first, but they reined it in, and it feels better now.
Yeah,
I love. I
it's
I mean, it shows you where for someone who hasn't been playing for a long time, it shows you kind of the direction that you will be going as you progress through these islands.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good thing. You know, I know a lot of this update was around making sure, you know, new player friendliness, right?
Yeah.
Being able to navigate, you know, through the game a little easier, more focus on Arcadia than the others, but you know, navigation is a big factor when it comes to that. We also got cloud saves, which is big for those of you on the move or you know using multiple different PCs, hardware in general,
That was
stuff of that
also like
nature.
one of the biggest requested community things,
Yeah, I noticed
I
that,
think.
which is I mean, I guess I don't know if you want to call that surprising or not surprising. I don't really know. I play on one PC, so
Right.
you
Like
know,
I'm about the same.
I would say I guess if I had a device, you know, that I went mobile with, I don't know if it was a Steam Deck issue or what have you. I'm not really sure, but I mean, that's amazing for all those you know that were affected by that or that you know got that sort of reprieve.
And I know that they're right now, like their official word on Steam Deck is that they're not focused on official support for Steam Deck, but enough people, I guess, have figured it out that cloud saves were kind of a thing. Um, and I think another reason why cloud saves were bothering some people is like folks who use virtual machines
Mm-hmm.
is you're technically connected to a different computer every time. And so
Gotcha.
they were running into an issue where they couldn't really play it because they couldn't re-access their save. They had to start from scratch, so like I get it. I
Oh yeah, I
know,
mean, yeah,
you
no
know,
shade for sure. This is absolutely it's awesome for those that it benefits. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, very excited for that. Uh, Now there's a couple of things here that I am in love with, and that is all the combat changes.
Yeah.
All the new juicy combat changes. Oh, we forgot to touch on puzzle changes as well. In Arcadia with the hit 3 where you have to hit the little lights and they
Yeah.
show sort of a faint glow, or not really a faint glow, but a glow in the direction of one of the other totems. I love that. I think that's awesome. That's
I do
really good.
like I do like it sort of explaining it like early on, like
Mhm.
as an add-on of like, hey, here's how this puzzle sort of works.
Mhm.
And from like looking through it, and I haven't had a chance to like dive in and figure it out. But from looking through it, it almost looks like uh it may have only been our Arcadia that got that little bit of boost so that players can understand like what like because once you see one crystal it's like, oh, all you got to do is look around for the other crystals.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, even if it's just the opening of Arcadia, that's really cool. But I love those changes
Right.
because there's a lot of times where my brain just shuts off and I don't know where the what to how you know what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah.
Things just fall apart really quickly. So that's really awesome. But combat changes. Uh, we got player scaling. Enemy and player scaling has changed, which I'd gotten confirmation from the devs through the dev stream that Unforgiving is now technically harder than it was previously there with the new scaling changes, which
Okay.
always love me a good challenge. Always
I'm here
love
for
some
it.
difficulty.
I haven't had a chance to fully dive into the combat and mess with the builds a little bit. I saw redecorating and like I went into it like, yeah, I'm gonna spend a little time redecorating and then I'll go play some combat and stuff like that. Um No, all of my time went into into redecorating.
Oh no, you got trapped. You got
I
trapped in
did.
the redecorating. I look, man, that is quite possibly the easiest trap to fall into. There's,
Right.
you go, hey, I'll just fixed up this one thing real quick, and then maybe I'll go try out, and then next thing you know, 2 hours have passed, and you have redesigned the entire east wing of your house. I mean, it happens to the best of us. No shame there. Yeah,
It's definitely one of those ones where it was like, yeah, I'll just pop in. I'll do, you know, maybe 10 minutes each day. I'll redecorate the, you know, the grocery shop. I'll redecorate the forge.
mm-hmm.
Um, Decoration wise, not a lot of like armory or forge decorations. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. Um, I didn't get a chance to do it. It looks like it was a lot of uh like alchemy and sales shop, you know, stuff that kind of made it feel more like a shop.
Uh-huh.
So my forge is still a little lacking, but I was able to get some good stuff with it.
Heck yeah, dude. Amazing. Uh, yeah, I kind of went a little crazy on the decorating too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't test out as much combat as I had initially planned to do, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're gonna be doing it, testing out some combat stuff real soon. I'm gonna be running some of that while we chat here. Um, but yeah, so the scaling got changed up a bit. Things are, a little bit tougher, which I always love. And we got new mastery on our boots and gloves and stuff, which,
I saw that.
yep, a little more grind, never hurt nobody. And we got some of the things that changed, which I was not privy to, was Whirlwind. I didn't know if that was like a major point of contention. I guess um, the way Whirlwind works was too strong. I didn't
Oh,
really play around with Whirlwind all that much, but it's had a couple of nerfs to it, honestly.
yeah, as a Runeblade main, I don't think I ever really touched Whirlwind. I think Breaker was the last class that I really started like investing in, and by then like I had everything unlocked, and so for me it was just kill enough enemies to master the weapons and carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I did not get a chance to mess with Whirlwind, so uh, I didn't realize it was nerfed.
Yeah, it had its cooldown increased up to 11 seconds, up from 7, and it what else? There was something else that I forgot to note down here, but oh, yeah, go ahead.
The mana
The
cost
mana
on it
cost went
went
up by
up.
1. Yeah, that's right. I remember now. The mana cost went up, and yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Whirlwind. Maybe it was a little bit stronger than I had initially put it off to be.
Well, especially now, like it pulls people, like it pulls enemies in, and I think that's a big.
Yeah, it
Um,
pulls in right before it like comes to you, right, or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to mess with it, so I don't know, but I did see it.
That's awesome. I mean, maybe Whirlwind is something that is extremely viable at this point, that is warranting of that change, or maybe
Yeah,
maybe it's a change that's put in place so that you don't break the game, because that's
yeah.
something that I do quite consistently, is break the game, and less of that is good. Less of that is very good. I know Mana Lash got a change.
I'm happy to see Mana Lash get a change as an early on ability that you can get. Like I do want to see how it plays like early on. Um, I could see a build for it, but that was one of my biggest things was Mana Lash sounds like such a cool like I could see a potential for like an overburn Runeblade build
Mm-hmm.
eventually. Because like the Runeblade one, when you go into overburn, um, there's the one mastery one. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, when you get to Master Runeblade, um, you get +8 mana from it, and then on Mana Overload, you heal half your missing health and explode, knocking enemies nearby. Like I could definitely see it, and then like using Mana Lash at high overload levels and stuff like that. But my biggest thing was like I had tested it out like back in the day, and it was like even when you were pushing, like you couldn't sneeze without going into overload. You would like hit an enemy and it would like poke them, and it was like that doesn't feel like it does, like for the cost that you're doing, that you have to like put yourself that close for more damage.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt wrong. So I am happy to see that it's gotten a little bit of a rework.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested in trying it out. I wrote it off pretty early after using it a few times, and I was like, what does this do? I was
Yeah,
like,
right.
it didn't really live up to what it said it did. So I mean, now it's the detonate's supposed to hit the mana lash buff up to 200%, which is a lot more than what it used to be. So we're gonna check that out, and maybe we have a mana lash build coming soon. you know, uh,
Nax goes Runeblade. What?
yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Is it raining cats and dogs yet? um,
Maybe by April we'll have one where Snacks does a Runeblade build and Jaden does a breaker build.
look, Runeblade is great in theory. I just think it needs a little love. I think it needs a little love if you're gonna match the damage output of other weapon types. Uh, moving on. uh, bow projectiles got a speed increase. Yes, sir. I mean, see, you call me a breaker, but realistically, on the Discord, I'm labeled as a sentinel because
Okay,
I like
okay.
I'm a fisty boy. I like to punch things. However, bows I think are widely slept on. I think currently
Yep.
bows are the strongest build in the game. I've equipped every weapon that you can possibly equip. I have a really good stat stick to make pretty much any weapon very good. I have
You have
done
the stat stick that was shown in the Discord that one
mine's
day.
mine's very close. Mine is very close. Okay, um, and I have tested every type of thing that you can probably test in terms of like making a build out of whatever, right? Bows have stood out so much in terms of general damage output and consistent room clearing. Now, yes, sure, there are going to be some things that clear rooms better, like a mega beam, black hole stuff, but bows feel incredibly smooth. And that is something I always look for when it comes to doing X content, is seeing how does it play in the overall gameplay, right? Does it feel rigid when I'm like doing this, or does it feel smooth and I'm clearing the content while maintaining good movement, etc., right? The bow projectile change really did make the bow feel a little better. And they also affected the aiming of the bow in some way, because I feel like my shots are hitting their targets a lot more, which, I mean, maybe that's just tied to projectile speed increase in general. But that was honestly one of my biggest gripes when it came to building the bow, in that you require like 60 to 70 sometimes upwards of 75% attack speed increase just to make the bow not feel like you're shooting the world's slowest cannon, right?
Right.
You have to have had an excessive amount of attack speed increase. Now, I haven't tested the changes to see whether or not that is still the case, but nevertheless, it is still a step in the right direction for bows in general. I'm very excited about that. And then dive kick, you can. It is so much faster now. It feels so different, and I love it because I am a dive kick extraordinaire. Okay, I dive kick left, I dive kick right, I dive kick anytime I can. And you're air to ground much faster now, and I think it's gonna allow for some more interesting combos in the overall fight of the game, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely excited to play around, especially like I did see the note that uh like it does seem like they're working towards player builds are going to feel like they have more of an impact and things like that. And um it's definitely one of the things that it feels like they're pushing towards.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I am excited to see. um you know, I think I had some reservations. I do like just kind of putting things on, but I do think that it is important for your build to feel like it matters, to feel like it's different in some way. Um as much as I love a curb stomp, a nice little curb stomp, and you know, just swatting enemies and stuff like that, I do miss a little bit of the challenge and things like that. So I'm excited to see how they refine it like that.
Yeah, I think maybe they're cooking up something that we haven't quite envisioned yet, and I really hope so. In terms of player builds, everyone knows the one thing we're all waiting on, right? And I'm gonna bring it up every single time that I can. That enchantment rework needs to happen because
It is on the roadmap. I don't
it
know what
is.
priority, but it is on the roadmap.
I mean, the minute it happens, I'll tell you this: I'm gonna put out 47 videos the next day because I'm gonna make every build under the sun, and that's genuinely one thing that is holding back my continued build experimentation is that I'm extremely limited by the fact that 90% of my weapons are just unusable. They just have like
Right.
the craziest, most unrealistic stat allocation. It's like I would never use mega beams on my fist build. Like, what are we doing? You know? Um,
I
sure,
mean,
somebody might, but
I could see a nice a Goku run kind of thing.
okay, all right. Well, now that you said that, I have to do it. I can't. I was just random exampling it. I just so happened to
You
say
happen to pick the
I
two
happened
things
to
that
pick
was
the good
like,
things. All
bruh,
right.
like you run with the Nimbus skin for
Yeah,
Arion,
yeah. I was
run
just
the
thinking
fist.
that, dude. I was just thinking that, man. All right, I'll make it happen. But see, to make that truly happen, we need I need to be able to tune my fists up, because right now my fists do jack squat. They don't do anything. They don't have
They
my
did
fists
get
don't have mega beams on them. You know what I mean? You could put mega beams on fists. That would be great.
I did see that what do you call it? Fists did get a little bit of a stat rework and have their own weapon type now.
I
If I
believe
if I remember correctly.
did they not have it beforehand? Because I remember it saying that they like you had fists applied weakness, right?
Right,
Like inflicts
which makes
weakness.
enemies hit less or
Mm-hmm.
hit softer.
Right.
as you hit them. I don't know if it was official, but I do know that I saw in the patch notes for Haven that they applied it then.
I saw that as well.
But I also think there were certain things that they like I think we talked about this last patch. Um One of the big patches where they push through that enemies with armor have ablative armor, which was the more it breaks, the faster it breaks each time.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that was something I felt like was already a thing several times over. I felt like when I was fighting armor enemies, like once you break their armor the first time, it felt like it just exponentially had like it had recovery fall off.
See, I
But
never
that could
felt
have just
that,
been
but I
me.
also like never really. I never broke armor, and then the enemy lived to reapply said armor. Outside of bosses, right? Outside of the big guys and like what you call it, the Grogs and Brogs and Rogs and all those guys, right? And
Yeah,
the
that's where I noticed most of it though was when you have a giant armor health bar on the top of your screen. Like it's a little easier to notice.
yeah, definitely. I honestly didn't pay that much attention to it, but you could tell like when they made that change, it was very much there. That
Yeah.
yeah, like that was a big one. Um, yeah, I think a lot of the things they're doing with combat in general are headed in the right direction. There's a few things I want to see, across the board, to sort of fix that up a little bit and make builds more interesting because right now you're extremely limited. But uh, I think it
But
had I
it
think
sounds like they're gearing towards that direction.
right. They're setting the groundwork for these big sweeping changes, and that is what I like to see. That's what I'm here for. I'm the combat guy.
And I think even like in all honesty, I think one of the quicker quicker fixes, at least to start with, to be able to play around, is in some way letting us just re-roll weapons.
Yeah,
Like even if that's all the enchantment table is us just letting us re-roll and then adding a little bit of variety to the skills and stuff that get adjusted. I think that that would be just phenomenal.
well,
I
I
know you and I have talked about like being able to get a like a way to lock it so that like you can re-roll all of the stats except for this one,
yeah,
or like that would, I think, be, if we don't go full customization, I think that would be like the best way to do it.
I will say they also
um
need to add in the ability to acquire different class traits on different on other class weapons. You know what I mean?
yes, I
Because
I would love to see a little bit more some hybrid style builds,
mm-hmm,
because I think that there could be a lot of potential, especially like there are some that I think have some synergy with Sentinel being a tank and Runeblade being a healer. Being able to cross those, I think, would be very neat. um
now there are a few things that like kind of touch on both. Like for instance, mega beams uh, can show up on breaker weapons, but that's because the incinerating beam is a breaker skill.
yeah.
Yeah, I see, and as it stands, our Goku thing just doesn't work right now. You cannot get mega beams on a fist weapon because there is no ice beam or incinerating beam as a sentinel.
Yeah, you would basically have to just build a solid like fist with maybe some like with like an uppercut ability or something like that, which I don't think they have. um
We do. We have. I mean, not fists directly, but Breaker does have those skills.
yeah. um and then have like the incinerating beam, or if you're going for the visual accuracy, the blizzard beam as just an ability. But yeah, definitely being able to rework some of that would make it a lot of fun. I know if they come out with a little bit more of like weapon reworks and stuff like that, one of the things that's caught in my bug is I want to come up with what I think would be the canon builds for like characters and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously opening up all the build stuff is gonna bring in a host of new content for the game. To be honest
Right.
with you, I really do. I think that's something that hopefully is on the top of the prioritization list there, because that is definitely gonna inspire me to pick up the game a lot more, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Um, I mean, I do know, I know they hype certain things, and then they sneak in some other things too for the updates. Like Haven was it was, hey, this was a massive overhaul to the base section
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Um,
They
but
still gave
they
us
updated
combat
some
levers a
combat
little.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, they
So
still fed me too, and I'm happy about that. Yeah.
and I think that's one of the things I personally I really love about the dev team is like you'll see these little things going back to like the world map thing is like that was not something that was highly asked for from what I saw on the Discord, right?
Sure.
um but the devs saw it and was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense and would help other players and stuff like that. um and they worked it in. And I know one of the players on the Discord right before the update was like, hey, I have like a ton of money and I've
Right.
upgraded everything and I don't know what to do with it now, and I think it would be cool to have just like a trophy statue saying that you got that, like that you were able to do that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And the devs like dropped that in.
Yeah, that was pretty
Um,
surprising. I thought that was just such a neat thing.
and I think it's one of those things where like on the big things, right? Like the community was constantly talking about how um base base building needed a big overhaul. It
Mm-hmm.
needed a lot of it. And
It
for
needed
me,
love.
like having messed with it, I think the only two things that I think will really get me invested other than them just releasing more decorations is I need the build menu and the grab button to not be the same button.
They need to decouple those. Honestly, they
They
really
need to
do.
and like need to, because in base building, I like when I was overhauling, like when you're in the small room of the house, you start getting a lot of decorations like right on top of you. And so
Sure.
as I started building more, I had to like walk out of the room entirely to be able to get to the build menu.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that really needed to be done was we need to rework the hit boxes on items, because it actually happened to me the other night. I was able to grab, while I was on the first floor of the building, I was able to grab one of my alchemy pots, and because they were on the second floor of the building, so I wasn't expecting to be able to just snag them. So I would snag that, and like now I have a blinn missing somewhere
I
because
saw that. I actually saw that.
you saw my little news broadcast.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, -1.
And I think, on that note, I think being able to have like a roster board for blinds, to know like what blinds you have working on what, because there's been some hint that it might become more of a management system. And as it stands right now, for every building you can make that requires a blind, you cannot have a blind at every station all at once. So if we're going to the management thing, being able to have a board to find out like who's where, or if I have one that's unassigned and can just like recall them, that would be the best thing ever.
Yeah, because I know right now you can only see uh missing blends via the chest inventory, right?
Maybe.
Like I know you can open up the chest. I mean, not necessarily you can't identify missing blends that way, but I know you can see all the blends you have out in the field.
I'll have to mess around with that. But yeah, I think for me, unmarrying the build menu and the grab menu, is super important. Um, and working on the hitboxes for sometimes you'll be looking at stuff and you'll grab something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, for building, that's like literally all they need, and then they have the perfect groundwork. And all we have to worry about after that is just what are we going to make?
Right. Yeah. No. I think you're absolutely right there. All that is good. Good and should happen.
It's definitely coming along though. It's um I love where this game is going.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think they're taking a step in the right direction, and I'm very excited for the future of Cloud Time. Truly, I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that's going to do it for us today here on Cloudcast. I've been your host, Bad Snacks. You can find me on Twitch almost every day. I say almost because some days I just don't stream, but that's okay. You can find me on Twitch at Bad Snacks with two S's. Also on YouTube, which is where you're watching this video. And you can find Mr. Pillowfort. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch as Pillow Fort Games, and then most of my social medias are all Pillow Fort Games as well. Or if you're watching this because you're a Cloudheim fan and you're a part of the Discord, you can find me in the Discord as Jaden.
Amazing, amazing. Well, that's going to do it here for us today. And we hope you all have a wonderful day. And we will catch you in the next one. See ya.